In another video, I have received a question about how I keep myself motivated for the language that I don't actually need. And this video was inspired by this comment. Thank you so much. If you have also other topics that you would interest, I would like to also read about that in the comments. Maybe that would also inspire me for another video topic. So in this video, I will talk about how I try to motivate myself for the language that I don't actually need. So what I mean by that, so for example, English, I need it, obviously. And German, I also need because I live in Germany. I work mostly in German language, so it is something that I need. But for example, Italian, I actually don't really need it. I can also get by with English when I travel to Italy. Or for example, Persian, I probably will never need the language actually for something related to my work or something like that. So how I would keep myself motivated. So the short answer is I'm not always motivated. I will be honest, I'm not always motivated for language, for learning this language. Otherwise, my progress would be much more faster and I would make a huge progress in a shorter time. But I just keep learning. Sometimes I can't find time for it and I'm not in a good level yet in this language, but I love to learn them. But there are things that I do to find the motivation to bring some lights or light it up so I can go back and learn it again. And the most effective, and I can't do it all the time, and I know it's also not for everyone, but this is the one that would motivate me the most, and this is traveling. So if I know that I will go to another country, it would motivate me to learn at least the basics. And when I hear the language there, when I'm there, it will also motivate me more to be able to understand what these people are saying. And I would love to be able to say something back. But it's also I can't do it all the time. I know not everyone can do it, and it's also not something that you can do every day. So what would be other options that we can do in our daily life? So I find it something similar to traveling, but it would less costly and wouldn't also require maybe not so much time, but it also depends on where you live. So for example, going to an airport and spending some time there, or an busy train station, or a place where you know it's very touristical, so where you might come across to your target language. So in those places, especially in airports, you might hear every kind of language. So when I'm in an airport or in a crowded touristical area, I will just try to eavesdrop other people, and if I recognize it as the language that I'm learning or I want to learn, I would just keep listening and try to understand. Sometimes I understand a few words and I'm really happy. And if I don't understand, then it would also motivate me to say, okay, I need to learn more. I can't understand everything yet. This is something that I can recommend you. If you especially live in a big city, it might be much easier to do something like that. And if it is also not possible, what other things you can do is then to surround yourself with the language. So to watch some films. For example, I sometimes watch a film in Persian, even though I don't understand after watching the film, I also got this feeling, it will be nice to be able to understand what they are saying. Or the songs, so there are some, for example, some Persian songs. I will also share the links in the descriptions. So I love to listen to them, even though I don't understand. But it gives so good feelings when I listen to it. Then I feel like learning the language, you know. And other things you can do is to follow people. It might be your friend that's talking that's your talking your target language. It might be some celebrity. It might be some vlogger, someone that would interest you. You can follow them on Instagram or other social media that you would use. I follow them mostly on YouTube. And then you're kind of in touch with that person, and it also gets personal, especially if it's a vlogger. Then they would also show their daily lives, and it feels like you're also with them in their daily routine. So it kind of feels personal. It might also help to motivate you to be able to understand more. I've done it a lot. For example, when I have learned German, when I was in Turkey, so I didn't have any surroundings that I can listen to much German, but I would follow some vloggers and some German vloggers and try to understand what they say or what they do. And it would also give some cultural aspects depending on. I've learned a lot of, for example, about the Christmas traditionals through this vlogger. So I already got an idea what I would expect when I moved to Germany, how they celebrate Christmas and so on. And another thing that would motivate me a lot, it also depends if you like that kind of, if you like it or not, but I also like to look at books, so I don't have to purchase it. Sometimes I purchase a book and it's like my aim to be able to understand it, but you don't have to buy it. You can just go to a bookstore or you can go to a library. If your city has a big library, they might also have books in different languages, or you can look for language-specific libraries. For example, I lived in Istanbul, so I was lucky. There was Institut Français and Goethe Institute, so I had membership in their libraries, and they were really they're cheap. They have done student discounts and so on. I would pay once in a year, and then I got access to their library. I would go there in every 2 weeks. I would look in the books and I would see which ones I can understand, which one I could understand. And it would also give some feeling of progress. You know, you would check one book, for example, at the beginning, you wouldn't understand maybe anything. And after a few months, you go back to this book and you turn pages and you see, oh, now I can understand these words, or maybe you can even understand the whole book, which would be a great feeling. This gives this feeling of progress, or the imagination of this progress gives me motivation. And the last one is something that I'm still working on. So recently I tried to study more with my flashcards, and I try to find ways to gamify it. So I try to, for example, make strings as in Duolingo. I try to do it every day. So I would see a box filled up when I review my flashcards every day. I have bought so a little game controller when I to review my flashcards. It would give some gamifying ways, and there are some other add-ons I would use on Anki to give this game the feeling that as if I am playing a game, and it also motivates me a lot. So these were the things that I do to motivate myself. Those are the concrete things. And another thing it's a bit more abstract, but I also want to mention it, and I have an anecdote. So I have the mindset that I don't need this language right now, but one day I might need it. So for that day, I must learn. And so alone it doesn't help, I know. So that's why first I have talked about the concrete examples that I would do to motivate myself. But this mindset actually helps also a lot. And I have also had an experience with the Persian language, something like that. And I wouldn't believe that the Persian would help me so much with that. So I was in the university, and we had our obligatory lessons. And then there were also the elective ones. So we could choose lessons in different areas. And in that year, there were also very different language classes. And I have chosen the French classes. I enrolled myself for a French class, and I went to the class. But I was somehow not on the attending list. My name was not there. And I went to the students' affairs office, and I have told them that I'm somehow not enrolled in a French class. And they have checked my file, and they said, you are not enrolled in a French class. I don't know what went wrong, but somehow I was enrolled in an Ottoman language class. I was first a bit surprised because it was not on my list of classes that I would choose, but I was already enrolled, and I have asked if there's any way that I can switch to another class. They said no, the deadline is over. You have to take this class. And at that point, I went to the class, and I don't know if you know about the Ottoman Turkish. I can talk about it. So the Turkish language that we use right now is with Latin letters. So it's the standard language right now. But before that, before the establishment of Turkish Republic, they used the Ottoman Turkish. It's also the Turkish, but it is written with Arabic letters. So you have to know the letters, the system of reading it. Then it's actually Turkish, but written in Arabic letters. That's the basic of it. And it was the introductory class for Ottoman language. So, and at that point, it helps me a lot that I have already started with Persian, and I have already learned the letters. So there were just a few additional letters that I had to learn. But then it was the language was Turkish, so I just learned a different writing system, and the writing system I actually already had thanks to learning a bit Persian. So the class, at first I was really afraid that I would not pass the class, but when I realized it's actually not that difficult, and then it was thanks to learning Persian language, and I could pass the class easily. And at that point I thought, I've never thought that the Persian, I mean the other language I thought I would use when I travel and so on, but I don't any plan to travel to Iran at the moment, and I have never thought the Persian language would help me with something in the university, And that's why you might also start to learn some in language that you think you don't really need it right now, but we don't know the future. You might need it someday, and then when this day comes, then you are already prepared for it. So that was the story, and these were the things that I would do to try to motivate myself. Thank you so much if you have watched so far, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.